Do you think about how what you're doing reflects on TYT as a whole or on individual hosts at all? I personally feel implicated by a strategy that I do disagree with. And or do you think, well, I'm doing the right thing, so everything I do should reflect beautifully on everyone who works at TYT?
See, this is a way of getting me like saying, Cenk, you're out of bounds. You're implicating
I'm
me
not
in a
trying. I'm not.
strategy I don't agree
No.
with. Well, but what am I supposed to do? Not do the strategy I believe in because it might implicate people on the network?
I think I'm
You
asking for
said like
empathy.
not get
I'm
how
just
absurd
asking
that
for
sounds.
empathy, Cenk. It's just being a little empathetic.
No, no,
Okay.
I don't think that's about empathy. I think what you guys are asking for, and this is why I'm not on the far left, is you're saying since we don't agree with your strategy and your strategy implicates us, you really, if you were empathetic and a good person, you wouldn't do your strategy. And I don't agree. I think my strategy is way better and will protect all of us much better. And so I'm not going to purposely do the wrong strategy because it implicates people on the far left. If you say, "Hey, I'm so implicated, I'm going to leave. This is unconscionable to me," as some did, great. I got no problems with it. Everybody makes their own choices, but I'm not pushing anybody out. You get this. Everybody gets to stay. Everybody gets to have their own opinion. They get to have it passionately. They get to fight me on it. They get to fight everyone on it. They get to make their case. I can't do any better than being super open-minded and allowing everybody to make their case. If you say, Cenk, you shouldn't make your case because some of us feel implicated by it, well, that's your problem, not my problem.
Yeah,
Okay?
I mean, about that, I'm reminded of the book by I think his name is Michael Schneider, on tyranny, and he wrote it's like 20 lessons from the 20th century about authoritarianism and fascism. And one of the things that has come to mind when you say my strategy will protect us, is he has this chapter, I'm going to bring it up, the first part of it, called "Do Not Obey in Advance," and he writes, most of the power of authoritarianism is freely given. In times like these, individuals think ahead about what a more repressive government will want and then offer themselves without being asked. A citizen who adapts in this way is teaching power what it can do. In other words, you don't have to do the sort of crackdown on the left around speech because I'm going to do it for you. Or you don't have to
But I'm
come
not
to me.
cracking down. Again, you're misstating it. I'm doing the exact opposite. You're cracking down by saying, Cenk, you're out of bounds. So you should
I
stop with
didn't.
your stupid opinion.
So
And
do
because
you
you're implicating me.
I
I
feel
mean,
like
come
there's a
on, let's be
real
honest. That's what you're saying.
Cenk, I feel like there's a real misunderstanding of power in your mind. And I don't know
I think
why.
you're hiding behind this power dynamic.
No. I'm being totally honest. I am a contributor to TYT that I go on every time you guys ask. I step in a pinch often. Sometimes I don't.
You do.
I've been asked less and less as of late. Jordan has sort of eclipsed me. It's fine. I don't give a shit. But like I am but a mere contributor. I make very little money from this show. I'm really grateful to the people who support it. I like again, you have founded the TYT. You've been the head of TYT. You're one of like a stalwart in broader progressive left of center media discussions. Like what you do is far more impactful than what I do. I'm just being honest with you. Like
Okay.
you have a huge footprint. You have
And
a
it's a good thing I have the right strategy.
And when you go on shows, and you go on stages, again, with Charlie Kirk, you it looks like an apology tour.
Well, you're wrong about
You implicate not just everyone who's worked with you and everyone who is ostensibly on your side, but it basically makes it seem like it cheapens everything that we've done and we've built. That's why I can't sleep at night. That's why I feel sick
it.
when
Crazy,
I see you on these shows.
totally
Like
nuts.
I'm just being I mean, I guess I'm nuts. I guess I'm totally
I
crazy and I
do.
should just trust you and say, "Yes, we need our you're doing the right thing. You're protecting us."
No, you don't have to
But
say
all I
that.
am doing is I'm filled with absolute despondency. Like truly.
So,
I
Franny,
can't believe that a guy who I like used to admire and who I thought had a lot of fight is trying to scratch the back of people who absolutely would never do the same for them.
So we just spent an hour and a half me explaining how I'm not scratching their back. I'm trying to get
But I can show
their
you more
populists
clips,
to agree
man.
with us on things we believe in and we've always
Sure.
believed in. And
Sure.
you go back
Well,
to scratching their back.
at least the
So
trains
listen,
will run
Franny,
on time.
No. So let's end on this because this is monumentally important. So I say everybody's allowed to have their opinion. You say when I have my opinion, I'm hurting other people. But that's do you hold on?
You're hurting a broader movement, yeah.
Hold on. Do you not get that privileges your position and says my position is obviously the correct one and the moral one? And since you have the incorrect immoral one, you are implicating me in your immorality and your wrongness. So you really shouldn't do that because that's being immoral to me and other people who agree with me. Because since you're so obviously wrong and immoral about this, you're implicating me in your immorality.
With great power comes great responsibility. That's what I'm saying.
It is definitely the correct position.
I'm saying with great power comes great responsibility. I'm giving you.
I'm so accepting, but you've gone off the reservation and you've gone rogue, Cenk. So now it is your fault for implicating the beloved far left, who are clearly have the correct position. But you don't have the correct position. And you don't represent the left. So please stop pretending you represent the left when the voting and the polling clearly showed you don't. And it's not wrong to be center left. You think that it's like center left is like, no, it's, I don't know what you think it is, MAGA or whatever. But you want to talk about the power dynamic.
It's Bill Maher and Nancy Pelosi having a baby, Cenk. I think ultimately you just need to embrace your centrism, my guy. I think you're just more of a centrist than you think.
Like I just explained it, but you don't want to hear it. I said it earlier, Franny. I'm not talking about the disgusting centrism of Manchin and all of that the mainstream media lied to us and called centrism. That's radical.
What's wrong with Manchin? Manchin works with both sides. He's a perfect example of what you're doing.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Manchin is the establishment. The fact that you can't see the difference between a left-wing populist who despises the establishment,
who's a right-wing populist,
who loves and is the establishment,
who's a right-wing populist,
you can't see that difference is stunning.
Who's a right-wing populist? Who is a right-wing populist? Name him. Who's a right-wing populist?
On Patrick Bet-David show is definitely a right-wing populist. Dan Holloway on Drinking Bros is definitely a right-wing populist.
Vinny on PBD thinks that the Biden administration blew up the bridge in Baltimore.
He does. That's right. Because they're not saints and they don't agree with us.
Who's a right-wing populist in office? Who's a right-wing? Is it Matt Gaetz? Who's your right-wing populist in office? Is it Marjorie Greene?
The new right-wing populist is absolutely clear. And see, guys, before I say the name, I know what's going to happen after I say the name. You're going to think of all the bad things he said about social issues, and you're going to think, oh my God, Cenk likes this guy. That's why I now hate Cenk. So I'm telling you, ahead of me telling you the name, no, I do not agree with him on the social and cultural issues, and I will fight him as hard as I possibly can on those. And I don't think that he's right on all the economic issues at all, but he has begun to be populist because he stopped taking corporate PAC money. Josh Hawley in the Senate. That is now a right-wing populist. Tom Massey, a right-wing populist, okay? Those guys, Massey, you could say 1,000 terrible things about him, but he is honest. Everybody knows he's honest. He's honest to a fault, right? He says some things, I'm like, whoa, that's freaking crazy, right? But are they actual right-wing populists? Yes, they are. And the number one way you could tell if someone's going to be a populist is if they stop taking corporate PAC money.
Okay, I accept that. I accept that. I just want to say, lastly, I worry about our relationship because, I mean, I don't have to, like, we may grow distant, you know what I mean? I'm trying to delve more into my show. I still love going on John's show and Dr. Richie's show. That's in the TYT network. This show is on the podcast network of TYT. There's no money that really exchanges hands. You guys do help me with the podcast hosting, so I appreciate that. So I may owe y'all money. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm just being honest. Like,
you don't know anybody.
But you know what I mean. I'm being honest about what our arrangement is. But I worry because, we were but 5 minutes into this conversation, and you said Emma Vigeland likes the establishment, and it doesn't matter what she said. It doesn't. Hang on. It's not about what she said, but it is concerning that there are so many former TYT employees, and let's put Doran Rubin aside, but people like Ben Dixon and Emma Vigeland, and And even longtime contributors who were editors, like Hank. I remember Hank, and like the fact that, you know, he helped start the TYT union and now has
He
obviously
helped with nothing.
okay, but I knew Hank was such a great guy, and Emma and Ben are such. I'm just saying, I'm telling you, these are. But okay, how I'm afraid, man. Like, I'm next. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do that I'm booted out of the castle, and suddenly it's us versus them. And they're so. What does it say about TYT? What does it say about you that there's so many former employees who are on our side ostensibly, who you have so much disdain for?
So, Franny, if you're next and I have this secret nefarious plan to push people out, why am I on here? Why would I come on here and talk to you for now nearly 2 hours when if I'm planning to push you, that doesn't make any sense. So number two, some people have left the network, and don't exclude Dora and Ruben, because Dora and Ruben and some others they went right, but some others went left or far left or whatever. But some group of them have the same agenda. Come watch me, come subscribe to me, not the Young Turks. I'm the morally pure one. I'm the right one. I'm the one that's right, and they're all evil and terrible. And don't give them money. Give me money, right? So let's keep it real. So is that everybody? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay. So a good example is Mondale Robinson. I like Mondale, and he has the similar ideological problem as you do, and he decided one day, that's it, I'm quitting, right?
Yeah.
And so, but bless his heart, that's what God made doors for. Okay. So, and now he's attacking me and saying I'm in league with racists and stuff like that. Okay, that's his opinion, right? But when people cross a line like Ruben and Dor and Sam Cedar, etc., and others, and they say, "Oh, Jenks just has this evil plan, and he's doing it for money, and he's a grifter, and he works with the CIA, or he works with this guy or that guy." Well, okay, now you're lying, and you're lying in like extreme ways. So like this whole thing of like Sam, for example, analogized me to a Nazi, but he's done 1,000 things. That's just one of them. And then when I go, hey, hold on. When I say cut that crap out, and they're like, oh, we're the victims. Oh, wait, I just said you were a grifter and that you're lying to people and you're cheating people. And I said you might be a Nazi and you're definitely a right winger, but I'm the innocent one. I can't believe Cenk counterattacked after I punched him in the face 20 times. I can't believe a poor little angel.
But he believes in saving Social Security and cutting the Pentagon. So can you give him credit for that and work with him?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. So, I mean, if Sam's going to vote to save the Social Security and not cut Social Security, I'm not the guy who says, I don't want his vote, right? I just don't have to go on his stupid show and agree with his stupid ideas.
Okay, but you just, again, stupid. Again, these are words that you reserve.
Okay,
why do you?
Randy, if I called you a Nazi and I said you're a right winger and you're secretly taking money from Pelosi and Charlie Kirk, then hey, and you said hey, and you got angry with me, wouldn't that be a rational reaction?
I think there's been a conflation
with reaction be, oh, I love Cenk. I love that he called me a Nazi. I can't wait to work with him. No, he's a freaking grifter. That's all he's ever done. He literally told me that he was trying to take Jimmy Dore's audience because Jimmy's was bigger.
Good.
So he wanted to.
You remember what Jimmy Dore did to me? You remember the reason Jimmy Dore was. The reason Jimmy Dore was out the door was in part what he did to me, and you and I talked about that at the time. It was when he had to finally face the fucking music and be like, "Hey, you cannot bully another not employee but a contributor."
Franny? I stood up for you, right?
You did. It had to get bad, but you did. He had also been, I mean, he had been going the way of the dodo for a long time. But I just want to say, like, so it doesn't say anything about TYT, that there are these former employees who really, and I just want to back to the last thing I'm going to say is people really liked you. They really did. And they looked up to you, and they thought of you as a comrade, a boss, a co-conspirator in this grand, political project to really change this country, to make it more democratic. And And
So
it really is. I have to say, like, there's a thin line between love and hate. And even these channels that are hell bent on being like Jenks this, Jenks that, you know what? They were all massive Jenk fans. I think we all are a little bit. And so I just want to say, like, it is sad to us to see you honestly
it's
act like very small when in fact you
get it.
could be a lot bigger.
So Franny, I think you're being unbelievably unfair. So you're
Of
taking
course.
6 people, 4 of whom are like clearly doing it for money, okay, and clearly doing it for attention,
I'm
and
I'm not
and
taking
then you say,
anyone.
hold on,
I'm asking you a
after
question.
you accuse me of incredibly unfair things, can you allow me to respond? Franny, you know the people inside TYT, they work here 15 years, 17 years, 20
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
17 years, and they love working at TYT. And what these assholes are doing is pretending that we're bad bosses and we're bad to our employees and we're bad to everyone that works at TYT and we do all these things and we push them out. Bullshit. Every one of those people left and they said, oh, I'm going to be bigger and better than you. And then they viciously attacked not just me, but everyone that works at TYT. Why do you think Edwin and Bart and all those guys have been there for so long? We gave people 12 weeks of paid family leave when no one else was doing it. And we did it for moms. We did it for dads. I mean, I can go on and on. Franny, to make it seem like I'm pushing people out and that I'm the bad guy here, when in fact, you know for a fact that 98% of the people that work at TYT love TYT and try to stay there forever and ever and ever. Sometimes they'll go to a different company and go, whoa, holy shit, that's bad, and come back to TYT. So please be fair and honest with your audience, because working at TYT has been amazing for those people. And all we're getting is smeared by a couple of people who literally say, we want to tear down the network. We got 75 people here that we have to provide for. And they're trying to take food off their table because me, I'm going to tear down the left-wing network. Why don't you spend your time, those people that I'm talking about, tearing down the right wing, tearing down Trump, tearing down all these people, instead of sitting there and going, oh, someone on the left is bigger than me, I'm going to tear them down. And that's what they're doing.
I think I think it's a
Like,
really sore subject, but I did just want to ask. I think yesterday on Mark Lamont Hill's show, you did say that that what your strategy has actually cost you and cost TYT some subscribers, and members, more importantly, who financially support the show. Speaking of putting food on 75 people's table, what is your reaction to that? I know anecdotally there are people who love and support my show, even though I truly don't talk about my disagreements with you. And God, Jank, I've been over backwards. The reason my show is at 1 p.m. is because it's right before you, right in between when TYT doesn't have any show. I've bent over very backwards to accommodate TYT. But there are people who love my show who say, I had to stop supporting TYT for a
that's
lot of
cool.
political disagreements. And what do you say to those people, or how does that make you feel?
I refuse to be wrong on purpose. So we lost a lot of members and paying subscribers when I started criticizing Obama from the left. And I said he shouldn't be drilling in the Gulf and he shouldn't be bailing out the bankers without any consequences, etc. And people were outraged. But I didn't do it because I didn't know the term back then, but I know it now. It's called audience capture, and I'm not going to do it. So if you say at the time, people were like, no, be pro-Obama, be pro-Obama. I'm like, no, I'm not going to lie to you on purpose. And now some folks are saying, no, tell us the far left is totally right. And then that like there is no crime and on and on and on, right? No, I'm not going to be purposely wrong. And so I'm not going to do audience capture, and I'm not going to say that. And so how could I be a grifter and say at the same time, I'm willing to sacrifice a lot of money that I'm super worried about for all of us at TYT to do the right thing? That's the exact opposite of grifting. That's saying I'm standing on principle. I'm standing on what I think is the real viewers of TYT and representing them. And Franny, what you're not seeing is there's so many people on the left who are afraid to state their real opinions because they're going to get shellacked online. All the far left is going to come out and call them a right winger and a fascist, etc. They're so scared to actually state their own opinions, because the far left has so much more power than they realize in terms of the social media ecosystem.
Sure.
Right.
I agree. And
And
I do
so,
think that it would benefit all of us to be a little bit less online, because I do think there is a real left. They are in labor unions. They work in
yes,
homes. They they are serving people Starbucks, right? Like there are real
yes,
leftists. They are, let's be real, they are on the streets demonstrating for Palestinian human rights. They've been on the streets, although I know this gets into prickly territory, but they've been on the streets saying things like defund the police, saying things like Black Lives Matter. And I know you might disagree with them, but there are real leftists who don't just live online. And so I hear you about, I absolutely concede our movements. We always talk about this. How can our movements be more attractive? Be, as Michael Albert, who wrote this book called Participatory Economics, he used to say, how do we make the left sticky, like sticky, where people want to be there and stay there? And it's for sure,
yes,
it's by not over policing one another, and it's by meeting people where they're
yes.
at. And I think that is absolutely true. But for me, it
Goes
is not about, to me, it's not about, what I see is conceding to a right-wing framing within the ceiling of Trumpism, because there's always
But
a
I'm not
ceiling, and that
conceding.
ceiling is Donald Trump.
But Franny, I'm
But,
not conceding, and facts have to matter. Facts have to matter.
well,
Like, you're painting me as a collaborator when I haven't collaborated at all. Well, all I've done is argue for our positions. And in fact, you showed a couple of times when I argued for our positions, right? And if you showed all the right-wing shows that I was on, you would see me fighting for left-wing positions on right-wing shows that no one's ever done. And do you know that on the Patrick
I,
Bet-David
I've
show,
I've
they
been
did,
on Piers
hold on.
Morgan. I do that a lot.
So, oh yeah, if you count Piers Morgan, I totally agree with you. So on Patrick Bet Davis show, I made the second to last time I was on, I made a case for paid family leave. They polled our audience. 75% of that right-wing audience said, yes, we should pass paid family leave. Who else has done that? And for that, I get called a collaborator and I implicate others in my collaboration. Can you not see how unfair that is?
So what is the goal then? Do you hope that maybe some of those 75% are people who heard your argument around paid family leave are like, you know what? Let me check out TYT. Like, let me see what they're about. Like, I liked what he said on this one thing. Is that also the goal?
So the strategy is to coalesce populists on the thing. Now I'm saying it for the 200th time because it's not getting through.
So, but it's not about audience then. It's not about maybe getting some of their audience. Because I understand, I don't know
No,
what you're
but
talking about
Franny,
in
the
like what
audience.
framework. You know,
So
are you a movement leader? Are you going to
yes,
start a political party, or are
maybe.
you just the head of an online channel? I mean, the latter is what we know to be true, right?
Yeah. So look, when Jimmy left and other people left, people, oh yeah, Young Turks is going down, blah 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 blah. No, it was total nonsense. Never had any issues. Here, this is a giant fight, and we do have issues. Okay, and so that is standing on principle. No, it's not like I didn't know that we were going to get into this huge issue, right? And that the other left-wing hosts were going to take this as a great opportunity to try to whittle us down. And so we've gone through all that, and we've done that. So why am I doing it? Number one, because I believe absolutely that it is the right strategy and the right policy, and to the ultimate goals that you're asking about, Franny. Number one, we've got to win the primary in 2028. So
Sure.
why am I saying things where I go, hey, I am center left and I do not agree with far left? Because I believe far left will be used, and you can disagree. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing. Kyle Kalinske disagreeing, no problem. You disagreeing, no problem. George,
Hassan
everybody
disagrees.
disagrees, no
Yeah.
problem. It's
Yeah.
only when they lie and they do bad faith is when I've got the issue. Okay, so you guys disagree, no problem, guys. Okay, but my goal is, number one, in order to win that primary, we've got to convince the normies that we're not going to release all the criminals. I know it sounds like hyperbole, and I know that really bothers people, but that's how they're thinking. That's why Oakland recalled their mayor 65-35, because now they started to think that the word progressive means release the criminals. No, it doesn't mean that. It means Medicare for all. It means paid family leave. It means higher wages. So that's why I have to distinguish in order to win that primary between the center left and the far left, and also because it's true, I am center left. And the great majority of those voters are center left. They do not agree with the far left on some of the extreme trans issues, crime issues, etc.
You don't think that
when we get to the general election, just to finish the thought,
yeah.
when we get to the general election, can we win over some of those former Bernie people that went to the right wing? Can we win over the independents and moderates that are not MAGA but voted for Trump because they says Trump was more anti-establishment than Kamala Harris was? Can we win those guys over so that our side wins? I believe we can, but and I'll use myself as an example again. So when they tried the Muslim ban, I have every right to call them Islamophobe from here to the end of the earth. I have every right to be concerned about me and my family, okay? But I don't believe it's the right strategy to call them Islamophobes and to push them away. I think the correct strategy is to go in the room, get some agreement on some things that we agree on, and then fight over the things we don't agree on, but treat each other as American citizens and human beings. And then at the end go, hey, by the way, I'm Muslim, okay? So do you think someone like me should be banned from the country? And when you do it that way, 9 out of 10 times they go, well, no, of course not. Of course not. But if I came in and said, you're an Islamophobe and you're a racist and a bigot, they'd say, ban this mother effer, right? And so I just think you guys have the wrong strategy and some wrong policies. But that's a normal part of a healthy debate. We could have had that debate without people making wild accusations.
Well,
instead of just saying we disagree, they're collaborator, right-wing, fascist, etc.
I really hope that you do, and I hope, let's leave it. I really do hope that you can get past what you feel are slights, to actually speak to some of the people that you're talking about, to be in more rooms with leftists who you may disagree with, and more people who are ultimately on your side. I've had the same conversation with Van Jones back in 2016, man. It's like I'm deja vuing all over again, where I told him the left is more on your side than the right. And he's like, no, the left wants to tear me down. But anyway, Cenk, it's really great to have such a candid, open conversation. I like that we can both be very Mediterranean about it and get like super mad, but then rein it in and be cool. And then be like, we're like, yeah, we're just going to yell and then we're going to be fine. And then we're going to get over it. So that's the kind of beer I like to have.
Yes. Thank you.
And but not with Charlie Kirk. And I will leave it at that. Everybody, you can check out all of the interviews. You don't have to, it does not hearsay. Watch for yourselves and see Cenk, and obviously every single day on TYT, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much, Cenk, for being here.
So, Franny, last thing that I've clarified. I'm going on every kind of left-wing show. Yours, Mark Lamont Hill, Breaking Points, Brian Tyler Cohen, Dollcast. There's just a whole Destiny where I guess he's kind of on the left.
Oh boy, don't talk about Israel.
But I'm going, David Pakman, I'm going on every show. The only shows there's only a couple of shows I don't go on because I think they're bad faith. And what they then do is saying, oh, he's not going on any left-wing shows. What, because they're the demigods of the left? No, I'm going on shows that have good faith, where we have wild disagreement. And like you said, sometimes we even yell at each other, but when we settle down and we have a beer, so this idea that I'm not going on left-wing shows or we're not doing left-wing stuff is just not
Well, we're making the second round. We're like the second tour. We're the B cities of your A cities tour.
No, that's not true. Randy, the whole network is left-wing. So, I mean, the aberration was going to talk to the right wing.
Well, I mean, what's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.